Hi, everybody out there. This is Information Man. Welcome to the Information Man Show. But most importantly, this is going to be a special presentation because my man Lion's Den from the Far East dug up a really interesting article. You see, you've got black folks, black Americans, black folks in America that are leaving the United States to take their journey back to Africa, back to the motherland, the place that was the origins of the world. Okay? And you've got, remember the movie, and I have to bring this up, the movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, where they were coming to America? Well, of course, it's the reverse now. With that said, let me introduce everybody to my man Lion's Den from the Far East. Lion's Den, tell the people a little bit about yourself and the article, brother.
Yes, I am Lion's Den from the Far East, and today we're talking about why our African Americans are moving to Africa. It's estimated between 3,000 and 5,000 African Americans live in Africa today. It's a lady named Mamiya El-Vagine. She's from New York City. She moved from New York City all the way to Ghana for a better life. Now, according to her, she felt like she's been disrespected because of her race, and she's been disrespected because of the color of her skin. And now she said that she's starting a new life in the country of Africa, in Ghana, West Africa. So, Info, your thoughts about that?
You know, brother, very interesting. Very interesting. You broke it down very well. This has been a phenomena that's been happening. Now, we know in America, you know, there's been the whole black people leaving the North to go back to the South. Okay. The racist South, as I would call it. And I've been hearing this, that you have a lot of black folks that are deciding to go to Africa because, one, they're investing. It's an open investment. I was reading the article, and a lot of the people that moved or have moved to Ghana in particular are saying that, yeah, there's some differences, you know, in terms of infrastructure, certain things that we take for granted here in America. But what a lot of black folks are saying that have moved to Africa is that they're saying that they feel treated more respectfully there. They don't have the stress of racism as they have it here in America. Not to say that Africa, or the continent of Africa, and the many countries within Africa, there isn't racial issues there. I mean, of course, we have apartheid, you know, in South Africa, which was really the Europeans, as we know, that colonized Africa, have divided it up, divvied it up, and done terrible things to the continent of Africa in terms of taking natural resources. But you've got black folks that are talking about that they're moving there. They're finding a better life there. With some of their income coming from America, they've been able to live comfortably. And some of the luxuries, particularly in Ghana, that we have here in America, they have cities, they have fashion there, they have a lot of things. And we've been taught culturally, because we've been culturally conditioned, to look at Africa as completely underdeveloped, that it's just a place where you have lions and tigers. And everybody, if you got sense in your mind, in your head, you know that tigers don't come from Africa. Tigers come from South America. You know, and if you have any common sense, you'll look at Africa as a continent, as it's a jungle. When in fact, there's more jungle in South America than there is in Africa as a continent. Okay? So it's made up of many different countries, different cultures, and historically, black folks in America, we come through history, through research. Most of us have arrived from the western coast part of Africa. So whether it be that we have lineage to Kenya, Ghana, maybe Nigeria, some of us may come from these various places, you know. And Lion's Den, I've been hearing about this. You know, there's probably black folks here in America that would say, hey, I'm never gonna move there. And reading the article, I found that it was very interesting in the article, because the article talked about how Africans in the continent of Africa, in these countries like Ghana, these kind of places, they're really surprised that they're seeing African Americans coming to Africa to live, to have a way of life there. And they're welcoming them, but they find it kind of strange because, let's be honest, some of them feel that we have a better life here in this place called North America, where we deal with racism, we deal with police brutality, we've dealt with Jim Crow laws, we deal with being profiled racially, we deal with being killed for pulling a wallet out of our pocket when we tell the officer, hey, I have a wallet in my pocket, right? We get killed, we get stereotyped as monsters, as brutal criminals, gang members. It seems like the only thing that people really want to associate us with is with sports and entertainment. And so the article states it very clear that black folks are finding a better way of life. They're respected. And one of the things I thought that was interesting in the article, Lions Den, is that they were saying that being educated, having their education and having some sort of, economic stability coming from America, translating to the continent of Africa, that they're more respected in the continent of Africa by other people that look like them, whether they're a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. Whereas in America, when you are a black professional, you're not really respected. You just look, we're not given the respect that's due us. Lion's Den, I've said a mouthful, and folks out there listening to me say a mouthful here. What is your opinion, either on what I've had to say, or if you have anything you want to add to this story and what's going on with black folks leaving to Africa?
I find it very interesting that, about 3,000 to 5,000 African Americans who wants to leave the United States and move to the continent of Africa to have a better life. Because I felt that, I agree with what you say, that, they felt that even though we have education or we have a college degree, PhD, they still, here in America, don't feel respected here. And they want to move to a place like Africa to have a better life and be respected. It's really interesting info that you have, you got countries like, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, other places of Africa you can go to, you can stay with, and they welcome you with open arms, and it was better than living there, than come to here in America. So I'm very, very shocked, and I'm very, very, pleased that the country of Africa is bringing people that's African American to come to their continent. So, Info, your thoughts?
Brother, you couldn't have said it any better. One of the thoughts that comes to my mind, and I've been hearing this, is that Africa is a continent. These countries in Africa are open for business. I've heard through my studies that you have brothers and sisters in Africa that are welcome us to go there. Excuse me, folks. And they want us to invest, because keep this in mind. You've got the Chinese over there. They're investing big time. They're buying up property. They're building infrastructure. The Chinese are all over it because they want to take it. They want to take over the resources. We, as black people or melanated people or African Americans or Moors or whatever we want to call ourselves, we should consider, if not moving there, we should consider investing in the continent, buying property, buying land, developing if we can. And from reading the article, a lot of the black folks that are moving there, they're taking advantage of that economic opportunity to do what one Booker T. Washington was trying to do. And that was cooperative economics, okay? Because that is our way to true, as I would say, black power. And that's what's lacking. The civil rights movement in America gave us social improvements, our ability, but it did not give us equal footing economically. And when in the article, every black person that has gone there to move there, they're saying that, one, they don't feel the same stress. Some of them are saying that, hey, there may not be the same conveniences in Africa, in certain countries in Africa, because all the countries are different from each other, but they may not be the same American conveniences. And then in some cases there are, but they would take the less or the lower stress, because black folks in America, and this is just the truth, folks, and I'm coming closer and closer. Black folks in America, we have all type of health problems. That's right. I'm talking to you out there. If you're listening, we have health problems. We have why? Because we have hypertension, stress. And part of that stress is impacting us from living in a society in which A, we deal with racism. B, we're marginalized. C, underestimated. D, and undervalued. And then we're also criminalized. We're also seen as criminals, whether we have education or not. And the stress of that ultimately impacts our health, short-term and long-term health. And this has been proven through studies. Then let's get into the industrial prison complex system in America, which is doing what? It's incarcerating black men at high rates, okay? Because we're being profiled. You've got the report that you, Lions Den, dug up about the police in Baltimore, which that's my hometown, using toy guns to plant on black men so that they can say, hey, he had a gun, and then sell us up the river to 25 years in prison or what have you. These are the things that black men and black women and children are facing. And then not to mention that we have to raise our kids to know how to drive a car and deal with the cops when they stop you. Then on top of that, as black people in America, we have to hope that our kids come back home safely and hope that we come back home safely, because there's the potential that we could be hurt out here in this place called America. And I know people are going to say, well, you know, places like Africa, South America, these are very dangerous countries. Come closer, folks. I could take you to some places in San Francisco where I lived for over 26 years of my life. And I could take you to places that even the police in San Francisco, the Bay Area, will not go because it's very dangerous. Okay? And they'll make you think that Oakland, which is next door to San Francisco, is more dangerous, when San Francisco is just as dangerous, if not more, but they have tourism. So, with that said, Lions Den, before we end our video or our YouTube today, in the morning, wherever you are in the world listening to this program, what you got for me more about this subject, Lions Den?
Well, it's interesting you brought San Francisco up, info, because there's African Americans that came from San Francisco, that came from Chicago, that come from New York, is moving to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting that you brought them up, because like you said, people are tired of being mistreated here in America, being stopped by police, being attacked because you're a black man or a black woman, and they need a better life. So moving to Africa, it makes you less stressed. You'll have nothing to worry about. People don't have to worry about getting stopped by police in places of Africa. So I totally agree with you, Info, that basically, moving to Africa may not be a bad idea for African Americans.
Yeah, definitely. And keep this in mind, because a lot of people listening are going to say, well, Africa's undeveloped. They got all these stereotypes about the continent of Africa. And that comes from watching all these foolish things on television, movies, like these Tarzan movies, where you got a white man acting like he's the king of the jungle, and Africa is not a jungle. You've got portions of jungle, what they call the Congo. But all those stereotypical images that we grew up with, okay, comes into our minds when we say, oh, I would never live there. But you got to remember, these are African-American people who are leaving America and going to developing countries or cities. They're going to developing areas. They're going to African cities or countries in the continent of Africa. Not African cities, because Africa is a continent. Let me repeat that. But they're going to countries in the continent of Africa that are developed. So we get these stereotypes that as a continent, Africa and the countries in that continent are all run down. Of course, they have their problems. They have some infrastructure issues. But if you do proper research, you will find out that there's some thriving areas that you can live and have a good life. Myself, Lions Den, I've got my passport. I would tell everybody, get your passport. Black folks, very important to get your passport. I plan to get a passport, or I have a passport. Let me correct myself. I have a passport. I plan to travel more. Want to definitely hit the continent of Africa. I'm hitting into Brazil as well because we've got black folks in Brazil. The majority of black folks that came out of Africa are living in Brazil, particularly Salvador, Brazil, of course, San Pablo, Brazil, Rio. Everybody knows about Rio. And so we need to travel more, see the global world around us to get a different perspective, because living in American society, you pretty much see the world from a Western point of view, which is everybody is what Donald Trump said, shithole countries, when in fact, there's a lot of beautiful countries out there that have beautiful landscape, beautiful customs, and you got to go out there and you got to explore it so that you get a perspective that's a global perspective before you leave this earth. It's part of your bucket list to see the world, to get a different perspective, and that's what we as black people in America sometimes fall short on, because we've been raised in this culture, which is a culture that really has taught us to be individuals, not work for the collective whole. We've been taught to be very Eurocentric in our actions, behavior, which is why we'll hate on each other. We'll do things that reinforce white supremacy because we've been culturally conditioned by it. It's in our religion, it's in our schools, it's in all activities of our daily life, Lions Den. With that said, brother, do you have anything else that you would like to add? Because you brought this up, and this is an excellent subject that we're talking about.
Yeah, my final thoughts is that African Americans across the world, across the United States, of course, if you want to travel to Africa, now is the time, because I think it goes to show that, here in America, we've still been mistreated by the system, and it's time for us to go back to our original roots, that is the continent of Africa, get to know it, research it, find out what areas that you would like to go to, like Ghana, go to Nigeria, or places like that. So if you're interested in doing it, just research it, and try to get passport like Info said, and just go ahead and go out there.
I like to also add, Lions Den, let everybody know where they can find this article. And the title of this article is what, Lions Den?
The title of this article is called "Why Some African Americans Are Moving to Africa." And you can go to an Al Jazeera website. That's www.aljazeera.com, and more likely you can Google it. You can Google it and just type in, and it'll be right there. It'll be the first article you see on Google.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Barack Obama. You're listening to Lions Den and Information Man.
With that said, my brother, I want to thank you. We're going to keep looking at this issue about black people in America, leaving America, going to Africa for a better life, because it's tough under these Donald Trump, this Donald Trump dictatorship that we're under. This
"We will make America great again."
Yeah, that's the knucklehead right there who's got us under a dictatorship in America. This is Information Man. I'm out. Lions Den, last words.
You can check me out on, you can follow me on Twitter at The Real Lions Den. Follow me on Instagram at @the_real_lions_den2. And you can follow me on Snapchat at LionsDen39.
With that said, folks, stop right there. Don't you leave my YouTube channel without doing the most gracious thing, and I would definitely appreciate it. Subscribe. All you gotta do is right down there, subscribe. With that said, information is power.